South Africa, with 2 weeks to the presidential election, the issue of how much needs to be done to protect lives and property during the entire period of the general elections continues to be a matter of prime concern to many Nigerians. Now, the government of the day has given several assurances in this respect, but despite all of that, memories of the dark recent past continue to loom large. The greater fear is that all of those may likely lead to low voter turnout. How can such a scenario be averted? What should the security agencies be looking out for within this critical period? And how can whatever gains achieved be made to consolidate on, even beyond the elections? Captain David Mbamara is a retired army officer and currently governorship aspirant on the platform of the Labour Party in Imo State. He joins us now. Good to have you with us.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yes,
good to be here.
Very good. Now, before we delve into the realm of security, I just want your thoughts on this. How would you assess the preparations for the general elections in view of the current myriads of problems we're having, both with the currency issue and, of course, the fuel issues as well? Just give us your take on that before we go into other issues.
Well, my take is that from the INEC perspective, the INEC have so far done a beautiful job. If I'm to rate them, I will score INEC about 80%. But the problem we have in Nigeria is the political class. I recall that some time ago, it was in this very television station that I issued a reminder and a warning to Nigerians that there is a recurring decimal every 30 years. And that recurring decimal is still hovering over and above us right now, as we speak. It happened in 1964 elections. The West resisted the MPC, and it led to the Western Nigeria House of Assembly crisis, which led to the coup of 1966, the counter coup of 1966, and the civil war that broke out in 1967. It happened again in 1993. This is exactly 30 years Chief M.K. Abiola of blessed memory won that free and fair elections. Still, the political class refused to allow peace to reign in Nigeria. In collaboration with their friends in the military, they torpedoed the will of Nigerians. That led to the June 12 crisis. And that led to a lot of the death of Abiola, the death of Abacha, and all those things. God in his infinite mercy saved this country. 30 years down the line, 2023, what has been crying is still crying again. The political class has refused to grow beyond ethnicity. They have refused to allow Nigeria to metamorphose into a full-fledged nation state. They have refused to accept the will of the people. What they want is a Nigeria that is within their control and prisms. And it cannot work that way. If they go the way they did in 1993 and the way they did in 1964, what happened then and what happened in 1993 will happen again. There is an ominous sign, in fact, right inside my handset, this handset, in Jakonde Estate here, the Bale of Bara summoned the residents and was issuing threats and warnings. Right here, I have the voice note. Call them together. Bring your PVCs. If you don't vote for our candidate, this will happen. You see, Nigerians are tired of this ethno-religious politics. There is no religious. If you go to the market to buy your okra or to buy your rice, you cannot buy it cheap because you're a Christian or you're a Muslim. You cannot buy fuel because you're a Christian or you're a Muslim. You cannot buy rice cheaper because you're a Christian or a Muslim. Naira is about 800 something naira to $1. All of us are suffering it. But when it is time for Nigerians to rise, when it is time for Nigerians to choose a leader that will move this country forward, like other nations, the ethnic jingoists, the religious bigots within us, will use religious and ethnic colorations to destroy the will of the Nigerian people. And that has kept Nigeria down. In 2023, is this cloud still there? Yes, it is there. And that is my fear. And that is the fear of every reasonable and concerned true Nigerian. And I want to personally use this platform to beg them to please allow Nigeria breathe a new air. Respect the wish of Nigerians. Yesterday was Friday. These guys went to mosque to pray to God. Tomorrow is Sunday. They will go to church to pray to God. And after that, they will not. They play God. If you now assume God, why go and play? Why go and pray to God? If you are God to Nigerians, because of the privileged position God has given you, you play God. Then why do you go to church and mosque to pray to the same God? They should allow. Nigerians have suffered terribly. Nigeria has become a laughing stock. And I charge Nigerians out there, please don't fall for their antics. They want to provoke Nigerians to riot. They want to provoke Nigerians to take laws into their hands. They should resist them, endure. No matter the level of provocation, get your PVC and unleash your anger on the 25th of February and in all elections. Unleash your anger.
All right. The Inspector General of Police, I'm talking about IG Mbamara, has actually set up an election planning, monitoring, and evaluation team for the deployment across the states here in the Federation. And it says they are to analyze, identify, and mitigate threats, as well as take out on-the-spot assessments of security issues. My question is, do you think that will be enough to be able to safeguard the lives of citizens and put their mind at rest so that they can go out on the 25th to exercise their franchise?
Well, it's commendable, but it's not enough. Certainly not enough. And I want the other countries, the EU, all countries of the world to copy what America have done. They should identify these characters who are agents of anti-democratic forces in Nigeria, who are determined to keep Nigeria perpetually down because of their greed for material things. Identify them and give timely warning, diplomatic warning. It is time to do it. Because if you listen to the tape, which I have, the Baale of Mbamara mentioned that he is acting on orders, that he cannot allow his source of income and that of his family to be jeopardized. Who is giving these orders? Who? The security forces should move in now. And it has become imperative, maybe after this election, that all the security institutions and their training institutions should commission a study into who is actually the enemy of this country. Our enemies are more internal than external. Those who elevate personal and ethnic interests above the interests of Nigeria are enemies of this country. It is important to commission a study to make it an object of study in our security training institutions and fashion out a way to nip this into the bud. They have held this country for far too long on the ground. This country is a giant. This country should be allowed to breathe. This country should be allowed to live its potentials. This country should be allowed to lead Africa.
Very good, Captain. If I may come in right now. Regarding the elections, INEC once voiced out concern not too long ago regarding some of his offices that were burnt, if you remember, in the southeast and in some other parts of the country as well. And if you remember as well, sometime last year, I don't think too much attention was paid to it. The army, I think the army chief also voiced concern that the security forces might be under pressure over the elections as well. I don't think much attention was also paid to that. So when you hear things like this coming up every now and then, where is the role of intelligence? You've always talked about this issue about this Baale and everything, meaning somebody out there from within is acting. So is it a problem of political will to act and apprehend? The other time they said, okay, fine, 400 people were involved in terrorism, as it were. This was last year or about 2 years ago as well. We don't know who the people are, you know. They're just mentioning all of this. So when you hear things like this, you know there's a problem on the ground. But is it the political will to act, or there's something more to it? Or we're just like, okay, laid back and just let it happen?
Well, you've nailed it. It's the lack of political will. There is nobody in this country that doesn't know the truth. And no matter what people do, this country has come to stay. One day, monkey go market, go return. A pan-Nigerian president will emerge that will fix this country, introduce law and order, enforce it, and banish ethnic and religious considerations. It is lack of political because in all our thoughts, even in the highest level of decision making, people prefer when they look at you, those involved, they run a tribal analysis. And it is my own, it is my own. But when it is their own, when you go there, you loot. When it is time for you to get power, you sell ethnic card, you sell religious card. And when you get it, if you are people who are loyal to you, who are of your ethnic and religious stock, are well off, you will be happy. But the truth is that they use this ethnic religious thing to blindfold Nigerians. The major problem, the greatest danger and enemies of this country, they are not even all these non-state actors. They are even those at the corridor of power. Those who see the good things and they refuse to do it. Those who look Nigeria from ethnic prism. Those who look at Nigerian national issues from tribal perspective. Those who look at Nigerian national issues from religious perspective. They are the true enemies of this country. And if we can get it right by getting a pan-Nigerian leader in 2023, if the Nigerian people can be able to endure these provocations, no fuel, no cash, just nothing. People are suffering, feeding from hand to mouth. As I was coming here, one funny thing happened. From Lekki Gardens, my side, to Festo Gate, I spent 2 hours. I even had to come down, left my car with my driver, and entered Okada to be able to meet with this time. It is as bad as that. The level of suffering is terrible and unbearable. But Nigerians should please maintain calm. This bottled anger that is hovering, they should go to the polls and they vote for a candidate of their choice and they protect the vote until it is announced.
All right, okay, we know you're a governorship candidate under the Labour Party for Imo State.
Yes, I am.
And let's talk about your state, because the heightened sense of insecurity in your state is very alarming.
Very, very.
And as a matter of fact, the governor there, Hope Uzodimma, has been quoted saying that politicians should be held responsible for the level of insecurity in Imo State. Do you agree with him?
I agree with him, including him. I agree with him, including him. The governor is supposed to be the chief secretary of the state.
Yes.
If the state is good, he takes credit. If it is bad, he takes credit.
True.
He should have a sober reflection and ask himself, was this the state he met? Even those of us who has military training, we are told not to bring force first. The idea of bringing force as an instrument to maintain peace is an act of cowardice. Because at the end of the day, every conflict ends on the table.
Yeah.
So if he says politicians, yes, I agree with him, because himself is a politician. And he knows what to do. You see, there is no life that is worth being lost.
Are you accusing him of foisting the insecurity?
He said the politicians.
Yes, he said the politicians.
Including himself.
Okay.
So he has said it all. Okay. So if politicians are the people responsible for the breach of insecurity, it is sad, very alarming. I came from the East, and if you go to Imo, a situation where people even play football with human heads, it is terrible and it's condemned. And the Imo State, if Imo fails to get it right in the next coming government, that's what some of us are running. In the next governorship election, there may not be an Imo State without the federal government being forced to declare a state of security emergency. It is very bad.
Hopefully we'll get it right after these elections, and of course...
Let's hope so. And that is why the best, Imo should go for the best of hands at this hour to rescue, recover the state and position the state back as one of the lead. Remember before Imo State used to be the cleanest state in Nigeria? Yeah. Imo State used to be the best in education. Today, Imo is number 35 out of 36 per GDP in both education and health. Today, according to Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, Imo State is the 6th most indebted state. Imo State is the number 6 in terms of indebtedness. So, and Imo State is about 60% unemployed. 57.6. My mathematics is that anything above the power of half is equals to 1. So one can easily say that Imo State has 60% unemployment rate.
Very good. On that note, hopefully people will vote wisely in these elections and elect true leaders. Captain David Mbamara, governorship aspirant for Imo State under the LP. And of course, I would like to thank you for your contributions on this show. It's good to have you with us.